Right. So let's start today's session on the international business, that is international distribution. So under international distribution, these are the subtopics that we are going to discuss about. So you need to identify what is international marketing or international distribution. And in terms of that, we need to discuss about indirect exporting and direct exporting. And there are different types of foreign intermediaries where we need to discuss about. So in the process of distribution, whether it is international or whether it is domestic, so the first thing which happens is physical handling and distribution of the goods that are produced within uh, any kind of an organization. So the physical distribution and also handling process will be done or will be happen throughout the distribution process. And also, the second important aspect of the distribution process, through the distribution only, the passage of the ownership or the possession of the ownership will be transferred from one person to another. Example, it has been manufactured by one company and it has been sent to the end consumer or any other company. So the possession or the ownership of the product will be possession of the ownership of the product will be changed only in the distribution process. So with that change, buying and selling activities are happening, whereas customers are doing negotiations. This negotiation can be happening between producer and the middleman. And also, buying and selling and the negotiation between middleman and the customers are also happening. So let's assume if there are um, like there are different intermediaries. Uh, there are different intermediaries um, who involved in the distribution process. As we all know, there are so many intermediaries. Uh, can anybody explain who are the intermediaries who are basically involved in the distribution process? With your understanding, who are the intermediaries? Any idea? Any idea about intermediaries? Okay, I don't know whether you all are sleeping or not. I don't know whether you all are listening.
Retailer,
Um, Puta, can anybody say who are the
wholesaler,
okay wholesalers? What else?
retailer,
Retailers. Okay, retailers. What else? There are agents, right? So we know that there are agents as well in some of the contexts. So these middlemen at the
a-
hello, yes. What is the last thing you said, Puta? All right. Um, so there are so many middlemen, sales agents are also there who are involved in the process of distribution. So the reason for including intermediaries for any distribution process is in order to reduce the time. So there are so many advantages of taking intermediaries, because sometimes manufacturer cannot find all the relevant end users who are living throughout the world. So we need to get the support from the intermediaries in order to do the distribution channel without any interruption. Therefore, middleman plays a greater role in the distribution process. Right. So let's move with the next marketing channels. So we need to identify what is marketing channel or marketing distribution process. So marketing channel is set of firms, individuals that take title or the assist in transferring title to the particular goods or services as it moves from producer to consumer. So the important thing, as I highlighted in the very first part of the session, is in the distribution, the important thing which is happening is transferring the title, or they take the title. So there are a set of firms or there are a set of individuals who do the task of taking the title. So if there are no middlemen, they are of course taking the title and then transferring into, right? So they help in transferring the title from manufacturer to end user, right? So when the products are moving from the producer to consumer, this is the most important thing which is happening in the distribution channels. And also it includes storage, where you need to store goods from the point of manufacturing and until it reach to end consumer, you need to store goods and services. And transportation, so there are different transportation methods. It might be sea, it might be air, it might be land transportation. Likewise, so different transportation models can be will be used. Okay, can you zoom out the presentation? Is it not clear? It is not visible? Okay, give me one
No,
second.
it's visible, madam, but we need zoom out there.
No, this is not the PDF. This is make a in the PDF එක නෙවෙයි. මේ
මිස් එක zoom වැඩි අර මේ සමහර වචන මේ ලං වෙලා වැඩි සම්පූර්ණ presentation එකම පේන්නේ
is it? Okay, give me 1 minute. මම මෙහෙම කරොත් පේන්නේ. මෙහෙම තිබ්බොත්. In a wait. Okay.
එහෙම
ඒත් ඒක මේක දාපුවාම පේන්නේ නම් මෙහෙම හැබැයි.
දැන් හරි.
දැන් හරිද? right. Okay නේද?
දැන් හරි.
right. Right. දැන් ඒ කියන්නේ දැන් ඉෂුව එකක් නැතුව පේනවද රුවින්ද?
දැන් ආයි කියනවා මේක. කලින් තිබ්බා බව.
right wait මම මේක මේ zoom අඩුම කරලා තියෙන්නේ.
අඩුම කරාමත් පේන්නේ නැහැ. ඒක ඔන්න ගන්නවා හරියන්නේ.
මේක හරියද? දැන් පේනවද? නැත්නම් ආපහු අර පරණ විදියටම යනවද?
පේනවා. දැන් පේනවා.
right. Okay නේද?
Oh.
Right. Okay. So as I was saying, there are different transportation methods used by the international, even in the distribution channel, even if it is domestic or in the international context. So, and also the sales contract between manufacturer and the middleman will be happen. And also they are giving different services. Middlemen are providing different services like the bill, documentation handling as well. And also sorting of goods, whether it is included in the proper categories, like it is in the good quality, if it is in the less quality, the sorting will also be happen throughout the distribution process. And also packaging. So packaging is also important even before we distribute any good to the market. Therefore, packaging is also very much important in the distribution process. Right. So there are two different ways of distribution. So in the international marketing, there are direct distribution and indirect distribution. So the direct distribution, we normally say we directly distribute the product to consumer from the manufacturer's point of view. So they may use e-channels, but sometimes even using the e-channeling, we do have intermediaries. Even if you directly sell, sometimes in the direct channeling process as well, there might be some of the intermediaries, sometimes, not always. But in the indirect distribution channel, of course, there are agents and there are merchant intermediaries are also there. So intermediaries and agents play a crucial role in the international marketing channels. Is it visible, Ruinda?
Yes,
right. So let's move with direct selling or direct exporting process, direct exporting in the international business. So here direct selling is employed when manufacturer develop an overseas channel. So manufacturer directly, they develop an overseas distribution channel and send their particular product to the international market directly without taking the support of intermediaries. So this channel requires the manufacturer to deal directly with a foreign party without going through an intermediary in the home country. So in that case, manufacturer directly deals with the foreign whoever the foreign parties in the foreign country. So let's assume if we are exporting something to Australia, So the manufacturer in the Sri Lanka is making contact with the Australian person, Australian citizen or Australian person who is having um, all the rights to maintain a distribution channel. So directly dealing with that person and doing the business without using the intermediaries in Sri Lanka, right, in the home country. So here the manufacturer need to set up the overseas channel to take care of the business activities between the country. So here, as there are no any other intermediaries who are well known to the manufacturer, as they are not taking any support from the middleman, manufacturer is having a greatest responsibility in order to maintain the overseas distribution channel. So he has to maintain every single aspect. He need to take care of the distribution channel, distribution process, and how it is going through. Everything has to be done by the manufacturer itself by contacting the overseas or the foreign party who are dealing with the distribution channel. And he is having the sole responsibility of maintaining the distribution activity. So there are advantages and disadvantages of this direct selling process. So the advantage is it might be an active market exploitation since it is more directly committed to its foreign market. So you can directly invade the market without taking any support from the intermediaries. So it is your direct commitment is there. Therefore, you can enter into the market at any given point as there are no any middlemen. And also there's a greater control and improved communication because you don't need to wait until your uh, whoever the intermediary get responded, or there might be some of the communication delays if you are not directly dealing with, or if you are dealing through middlemen, there are communication delays as well. But when you're directly dealing with the foreign exporters, it is very easy. So approval process also did not get uh, delayed. And also, even before the transaction is completed, everything can be done by yourself. Since your commitment is there, it is the greater control and improved communication is there. But also, in contrast to the advantages, disadvantages are also there. Sometimes you are dealing with a foreign country which you are not known about the um, uh, what do you call constraints which is happening. That is, sometimes legal barriers are there, commercial barriers are also there. So you are very unfamiliar with the foreign context. So that might be a barrier, or that might be a disadvantage. So uh, you may have difficulties in managing the channel as you are not familiar with the foreign market. And also it is time consuming because you have to engage full time into the distribution process, and since you are the sole responsible person there. And also it might be of course expensive since you are directly dealing with all the activities. You may have to incur all the costs relating the uh, through the transferring of the product title from your perspective or your point to the foreign context. And also, without a large volume of business, manufacturer may find it is more costly to maintain the channel. So it is not possible to if it is not a huge volume. අපි පොඩි පොඩි භාණ්ඩ හා සේවා නම් direct selling කරන්නේ, it is not good because it might be very costly. That is why if you are doing direct selling, it should be a good volume. So if you are doing a direct channeling process, right, so volume should be larger if you are dealing with direct distribution, right? So let's move with the second part of the international distribution, that is indirect exporting, or we say that indirect selling. So here in the indirect exporting, we use the home-based middleman. So if you are, as I said earlier, if you are selling your products to the foreign context, you should have a home-based middleman who are doing the responsibilities of the distribution of your product to the foreign country will be taken by the home-based middleman. So they might be, they are having the ability to handle the distribution process where they are very capable of doing so, and it will be a good advantage to you as you do not need to commit your whole time in order to deal with the distribution process. So we use home-based middlemen. These middlemen can be wholesalers, it can be retailers, and also joint venture companies can be there. So indirect selling is known as the local or domestic channel. So you have local or domestic channels where you do the purchases from foreign and domestic manufacturers or producers, and then you repackage, right? You have seen marketed and distributed. So they are taking from foreign contexts, or they are taking from domestic manufacturers, and they repack the product and export under their own name. So that is what in the indirect exporting which is happening. By taking all risk and selling the goods to their own consumer. So this is just a repackaging process, rather manufacturing and directly selling. When manufacturer in the home country may market his product through another firm that act as the manufacturer's sales intermediary. So let's assume if you are selling something to a foreign country, the manufacturer is in the Sri Lanka. So your the marketing of the product, or the market of the product of our product will be taken by some other firm sometimes. So that is, we consider it as uh, home based middlemen. Home based middlemen la tamai a responsibility එක ගන්නේ. So these home based middlemen will be considered as manufacturer's sales intermediary, right? The middleman is a common name we use, but we generally consider them as manufacturer's sales intermediary. So the sales intermediary is just another local or domestic channel where for the manufacturer, because there are no dealing abroad with foreign firm. By exporting through independent local middlemen, the manufacturer has no need to set up an international department for the international exporting. අර direct distribution වල තියෙන issue එක තමයි අපි channel එකක් start කරන්න ඕන distribute කරන්න, but when you are using these sales intermediaries, they will do the needful on behalf of us. We do not need to bother about setting up an international department when we are selling. Right. So let's move it. Right. So the advantages and disadvantages of direct selling is considered here. So the advantages can be seen as indirect selling can allow company to increase sales quickly without having to hire more sales personnel. And it is better for overseas market since you're always dealing with an unknown market. So better to use the knowledge of known people about the unknown market. And also channel is inexpensive, low per transaction cost, since these intermediaries are dealing with many of the manufacturers. So your channel cost will be less, and also startup cost is also less. But the disadvantages, manufacturing firm has to give up control of marketing activities over the firm. Every marketing activities will be done by the intermediary. So marketers, basically manufacturers, do not have any control over there. And in some of the cases, indirect sales may be lead to reduce the control of the brand messages and poorer communication services. So this might happen sometimes. We do not know through whom we are sometimes, like how they are acting or how they are dealing with the foreign customers or the foreign distribution channel. There might be, as you do not have control over your brand message, the exact message that you need to give to your customers will not be happen through some of the middlemen. And also sometimes their customer service will be very less, therefore customers will be dissatisfied. So that kind of issues are also there. So we say intermediaries can easily discontinue handling the manufacturer's product. This also can happen in the international context. අපි දන්නේ නැහැ සමහර වෙලාවට ඒගොල්ලෝ give up කරලා ඉවරයි intermediaries ලා මේ manufacturer ගේ product එක handle කරන එක. මේ discontinuity එක නිසා we might be losing the we might be basically losing the control over our product. Therefore, it might be a disadvantage. So whatsoever the method we use, there are advantages and disadvantages. Therefore, we need to do a cost benefit analysis and also by analyzing the same, we need to decide the best channel which is possible to us. Right. So in the direct distribution and also in the indirect distribution, there are distributors. There are different distributors, right? So in the direct channeling, we get use the service of different distributors like foreign distributors. We have foreign retailers. We have state-controlled trading companies, and also we have end users. So in the direct channel, these are the different types of intermediaries we can use. So let's discuss one by one. There are foreign distributors. So in the foreign distributors, we normally say that they has the exclusive right to carry out the distribution for manufacturer in a foreign country or a specific area. So every order goes through this distributor, and distributor choose to appoint a sub-agent or the distributor. So there are foreign distributors. We will give our product to distribute to this foreign distributors. Sometimes they will directly sell or else they will appoint a sub-agent. Sub-agent කෙනෙක් ඒගොල්ලොන් appoint කරන්න පුළුවන්. And also they purchase merchandise from the manufacturer at a discount and then resell to distributes to the merchandise to the retailer and sometimes to the final consumer. So as I said, in the foreign context, in the international distribution, even in the direct channeling, sometimes we get use the support of distributors. So there are some of the foreign distributors, as I said. So these foreign distributors take the responsibility of selling your product or distributing your product to the foreign market. They might get use the support of agents as well. So rather than foreign distributors, we can get the support from foreign retailers. So we can sell our product to foreign retailer. දැන් අපි ලංකාවේ තියෙන retailing company එකට අපේ product එක directly දෙනවා වගේ අපිට පුළුවන් අපේ product එක directly foreign retailer කෙනෙක්ට දෙන්න. So foreign retailers are used for the consumer products rather than the industrial product. So the special case, foreign retailers are used only for the consumer product. හේතුව තමයි එකක්. So these consumable products rather than the industrial product used for a specific period of time, but industrial products we can use for so this is industrial products වලට මොනවද අයිති වෙන්නේ පුතා? Rather than consumer products, industrial products කියලා අපි identify කරන්නේ මොනවද? Industrial goods. So basically parts, different tools, so it can be used as industrial product. Therefore, these foreign retailers are best for if you are producing and selling consumer product. So there are many channels by which a manufacturer may contact foreign retailers, but and trust them in advertise to prospective retailers. So there should be a trust between these foreign retailers as you are directly dealing with these retailers. So big items such as automobiles or high volume product, it may be worthwhile while for the manufacturer to sell to retailers without going through foreign distributor. So as I said, there are some of the products which is best to give to foreign retailers rather than selling it to a foreign distributor, since it might take delays in your distribution process. So one example, for a foreign retailer, I have taken an example as Walmart outlets in China or any other country. Walmart is one of the good foreign retailer that we can get the support of. And also in the direct distribution channels, we have state-controlled trading companies. How many of you have seen this? ශ්‍රී ලංකා රාජ්‍ය වාණිජ්‍ය විවිධ නීතිගත සංස්ථාව දැකලා තියෙනවද ඔයගොල්ලෝ? ශ්‍රී ලංකා ස්ටේට් ට්‍රේඩින් කෝපරේෂන් ලිමිටඩ් ගිහින් තියෙනවද ඔයගොල්ලෝ මේ කියන්නේ have you ever seen what kind of product they are selling? ආලමයි ඔයගොල්ලෝ ගිහින් දැකලා තියෙනවද මේ ශ්‍රී ලංකා රාජ්‍ය වාණිජ්‍ය විවිධ නීතිගත සංස්ථාව? නිකන් හරි දැකලා තියෙනවද ඔයගොල්ලෝ කොහේ හරි තියෙනවා? එහෙම ටවුන්ස් වල තියෙනවද දැකලා තියෙනවද? Are you all listening or are you all sleeping? Are you all doing some of your own works? නැත්නම් ෆෝන් එක පැත්තක තියලා ඇඳට වෙලා හොඳට නිදිද කට්ටිය? අද ඉරිදා මොන කරදරයක්ද ලෙක්චර්ස් තියෙන එක හරි කරදරයි කියලා. Are you all there? ඒ කියන්නේ ඔක්කොලාම නිදිද? At least you can drop a message. Nobody is dropping a message. Yes කියන එකත් භාගයට තමයි type වෙලා තියෙන්නේ. That much you all are sleepy as I felt. Okay. Anyhow, so this is the state controlled trading company in the Sri Lanka. So every country has their state controlled trading companies who will take the responsibility of distributing some of the goods which is coming from the foreign context. And the important thing is, as it is a state controlled trading company, their prices are very low. I have once been there. ඕනම පොඩි items they do have multiple things. So as it is a state controlled trading companies එක දෙයක් කියලා නෑ ඒගොල්ලන්ගේ හැම දෙයක්ම තියෙනවා. So it can be different equipments, it can be stationary items, it can be machineries, everything is there. So but the important thing which I have noticed is their prices are very low, right? Rather than the prices in the other retail contexts, their prices are very low. So some of the product, particularly so utilities, telecommunication equipments, a manufacturer must contact and sell to the state controlled companies. So sometimes it is directly goes to the state controlled companies, and through that company the selling will be done. So many countries, as I said, they have their state controlled trading companies which have the complete monopoly in buying and selling goods. They do have the monopoly of buying and selling goods. So most opportunities for the manufacturers are limited to raw materials, agriculture machinery. So that is important. So they do have, they do have these agricultural machineries which has been exported from the, which has been imported from the foreign countries, which is at a very low price. That is the important case. And manufacturing equipments, technical instruments rather than on consumer household goods. But sometimes there are household goods as well. In Sri Lanka, in the state trading companies, there are household goods, stationery items, as I said. සමහර ඔය පොඩි දේවල් තියෙනවා අපි book shop එකකට ගිහින් ගන්නවට වැඩිය ගොඩාක් අඩු cost එකකට ගන්න පුළුවන් මේ state trading. අපිට ඕනේ varieties නෑ. Whatever available there, we can purchase. So reason for all this may be the limitations in shortage of foreign exchange and emphasis on the self-efficacy. So in order to sometimes as the foreign exchange process is not happening with foreign distributors, foreign retailers, so sometimes we choose the state controlled trading companies as we do not have any other method of selling the product in the international context, right? So this is the state controlled trading company in Sri Lanka. Every country, they do have their own. And also in the direct channeling, the intermediary we can use is the end users. Manufacturers sometimes directly sell your product to the end users with no intermediaries. So this direct channel is a logical and natural choice for costly industrial products. So some of the costly industrial product, it is better to directly sell to your consumers, because otherwise you may have to incur distribution, so the intermediary cost as well. For most consumer products, the approach is only practical for some of the product in some countries. And there are clearance problems. So when you directly selling, there are some of the clearance problems, and duty payments are also there. You might have also faced the same kind of situation. දැන් ඔයගොල්ලෝ මොනවා හරි online ordering process එකකට ගියපුවාම you may have felt sometimes clearance issues තියෙන පුළුවන්, because we are taking goods or we are selling goods without knowing the country rules and regulations. දැන් ලංකාවට වුණත් අපිට එවන හැම parcel එකම online අපිට ගෙන්නනකොට ඕගොල්ලෝ මට වැඩි experience තියෙනවනේ. Online අපි ගෙනන හැම parcel එකම නිකන් එන්නේ නැහැ. If the package is too large, if the package is suspective, they will keep it under their custody. ඒක අපි කියන්නේ අර මධ්‍යම තැපල් හුවමාරුවේ තියාගෙන ඒකට explanation call කරනවා, මොකද්ද මේකේ තියෙන්නේ, මොනවද මේකේ තියෙන්නේ. So ඒ වගේ issues ඕන තරම් වෙන්න පුළුවන්. අපි export import කරනකොට directly, right? So we need to obey the country rules and regulation when we are directly doing this distribution process, right? And as I said, sometimes when the merchandise arrives, so when the product arrives, the consumer may not be able to claim it. මං කියන්නේ මං කිව්වා වගේ අපිට සමහර වෙලාවට ජස්ටිෆිකේෂන් දෙන්න වෙනවා. ඇයි මේ ප්‍රොඩක්ට් එක ගෙන්නුවේ? මේ ප්‍රොඩක්ට් එක ගෙන්නන්නේ මොන රීසන් එකටද? මොකද්ද මේකේ තියෙන ඉම්පෝටන්සි එක? So you may have to justify. Sometimes you may not be able to claim it. So as a result, the product may get seized or returned in the foreign collect basis. සමහර වෙලාවට ප්‍රොඩක්ට් එක ඒක ඇත්තටම ලංකාවට ගෙන්නන්න බැරි ප්‍රොඩක්ට් එකක් නම් ඒක කියන්නේ සීස් කරන්න පුළුවන් ලංකාවෙන් එහෙම ඕනම රටකින් එහෙම නැත්නම් ඒක රිටර්න් වෙන්නත් පුළුවන්. So that is why we sometimes use the support of intermediaries rather selling it to direct consumers or rather taking on the direct basis. මේ වගේ advantages and disadvantages තියෙන නිසා තමයි so we are using different intermediaries, right? So let's move with this indirect channeling intermediaries. So there are a large number of intermediaries we used in the indirect channeling, but we are going to discuss about very few. ඕන තරම් තියෙනවා අපි පොඩි කීපයක් තමයි under this lesson we are going to discuss about. So here in the indirect channeling we have manufacturers, export agent or sales representative. So here this manufacturer's export agent is not a manufacturer's employee, right? That you need to clearly understand. He is not an employee of the manufacturer. In fact, he is an independent business person who usually retain his or her identity by not using manufacturer's name. They are not using the name of the manufacturer. They will be independent business people. They will sell the manufacturer's product, but they are under their own name. They are using their identity. So having more freedom than the manufacturer's own salesperson, a sales representative can select when and where to work within the assigned territory, like how to sell, what to sell, which quantity we are selling, how we are selling will be decided by the sales representative. But at the end of the day, he is responsible to give the relevant payment to the manufacturer. So this export agent pays his or her own expenses and may represent manufacturers of release related and non-competing product. He represents manufacturer of related and non-competing products. So basically, these sales representatives are getting only the related product. එයාට අදාළ කියන්නේ එයාට relate වෙන. ඒ කියන්නේ related products විතරයි ගොඩක් වෙලාවට මෙයා sell කරන්නේ non competing products. ඒ කියන්නේ manufacturer එක competition එකක් ඇති වෙන products මෙයා sell කරන්නේ නැහැ. Related non competing products විතරයි මේ manufacturer sales agent sell කරන්නේ. And also he can operate on either exclusive or non-exclusive basis. I don't know whether you can remember or not, but in second year marketing, we are discussing about exclusive distribution and non-exclusive distribution. අපි කියනවා exclusive distribution එකක් කියන්නේ it is not always හැමතැනම නැහැ. Very limited access එකක් තියෙන්නේ. ඒ කියන්නේ exclusive distribution එකක්. Non-exclusive කියන්නේ it is like a day-to-day purchase, everywhere it is there. හැමතැනම ඒක තියෙන්න පුළුවන්. Right? So exclusive and non-exclusive basis they are using. So the second, so here you need to identify, this is exceptional. This is not compulsory to identify, even this might not be very clear, but do not worry. This is to identify the difference between the agent and the distributor. So here in the agent and the distributor, agent introduce you to a prospective customers and charge a commission if you are making a sale. In contrast, distributor, he buy from you at any agreed price and then sell the market to their own customers. So that is the main difference between agent and the distributor. Agent, their task is to introduce a customer to you, right? And then he will be a intermediary. He will introduce a customer to you and charge a commission if you make a sale. But distributor, he is buying products from you and he is giving at an agreed price, and then distributor will take the responsibility of selling the product to consumer. That is the main two difference between agent and the distributor. So that you need to identify. Make a always තියාගෙන යන්න. Then under indirect distribution channels, the export management companies are used as another intermediary, right? So in the export management company, they manages under contracts and the entire export program of the manufacturer. So they take the entire responsibility of the manufacturer. අපි කියන්නේ මේ export management company එකට අපේ product එක බාර දුන්නම they take every single responsibility. So they take the responsibility of selling the product and giving the price to us and also handling all the documentation. Every single aspect will be done by an export management company. So this is one of the best intermediary we can choose, as they all do every single task in order to sell our product in the international context, right? So this EMC or the export management company is known as the combination of export manager, because it may function as export department for several connected but not competing manufacturers. And also the important thing is this should be connected, not competing manufacturers. Then හිතන්නකෝ අපිට competing manufacturers ලා ඉන්නවා නම් export management company එකට it might be a problem. ඒකට අපිට ප්‍රශ්නයක් වෙනවා, අපි export management company එකක් නම් කාගේ product එකද sell කරන්නේ? එහෙම නැත්නම් කාගේ product එක sell කරොත්ද issue එකක් වෙන්නේ? එහෙම නැත්නම් අපිට එකෙන් issue එකක් වෙනවද නැද්ද කියන එක verify කරගන්න අමාරු නිසා export management companies normally take only the non-competing products. And also, we can generally say that they provide exclusive services ranging from promotion to shipping arrangements and the documentation, as I said. So what they normally do is, they normally take the every single responsibility where they provide promotion to shipping arrangement and also the documentation. So this is the most hardest part. සාමාන්‍යයෙන් අපිට අමාරුම දේ තමයි documentation, international documentation, right? So therefore, what we need to do is we need to choose very carefully who will be well fitted into our distribution process, and who will be our intermediary will be selected by the you need to select it who will be the best intermediary by understanding your product atmosphere, right? So third, right. So third, without whoever who are doing the drawing here in the PowerPoint, 164, 116. Right. So the next intermediary, we consider it as purchase or buying agent. So here, an export agent may represent a seller or manufacturer, and also the purchasing or the buying agent represent the foreign buyer. So this buying agent will represent the foreign buyer by residing and conducting business in the exporter's country. The purchasing agent is in favorable position to seek the product that matches the foreign principles or the foreign buyer preferences and requirements. So this buying agent will be basically represent the foreign buyer. එතකොට මෙයා ඉන්නේ එක්ස්පෝර්ට් එකේ country එකේ, මෙයාගේ තියෙන ස්පෙෂැලිටි එක තමයි මෙයාගේ foreign buyer කෙනෙක් ඉන්නවා, එහෙම නැත්නම් foreign purchaser කෙනෙක් ඉන්නවා, එයාව තමයි represent කරන්නේ. එයාගේ favorable position එක seek කරලා තමයි එයාට ඕන කරන product එක අපෙන් අරගෙන foreign buyer ට දෙන්නේ. So this purchasing agent client pays a fee or commission for the service rented. And also the purchasing agent is known as the commission agent because he is based on a commission, and buyer for export or export commission house or export buying agent. So we are naming using all these names: commission agent, buyer for export, export commission house, and export buying agent. Right. So this agent may be also become an export confirming house when confirming the payment and paying the seller after receiving the invoice and the title of the client. When this has happened, we consider this person as a export confirming house. Right. So then next, the resident buyer. Right. So here we have a resident buyer, right? So the resident buyer is considered as another variation on the purchasing agent. So he is another variation of the purchasing agent. The resident buyer, as the name implies, right? As the name implies, it is an independent agent that usually located near the highly central production industry. So although functioning like a regular purchase agent, the resident buyer is different because the principal on the continuous basis maintain a search for new product and it may be suitable to it. So this basically resident buyer is also independent agent. That is what you need to identify. He is also a resident agent located in highly centralized production industry. So these resident buyers sometimes can be used as the marketing intermediaries, and they are also depending on the commission base, right? So they are also kind of commissioned agents. Then we have export merchants. So export merchant is also a kind of domestic merchant. He is residing in the domestic country, and also he do the different services like physical possession of goods and services will be taken by the export merchant, and he seeks out the needs for foreign market and make purchases from the manufacturer in its own country to fill the needs. So what they will do is export merchant will identify the country context, and if they need kind of products, they will purchase from the foreigners, foreign exporters, and keep it with them, and in order to fulfill the needs of their country requirement. ඒ කියන්නේ මේ export merchant කෙනෙකුත් ඇත්තටම එයාගේ task එක තමයි ගොඩක් වෙලාවට එයා ගන්න අපි කියනවා these staple goods will be taken, undifferentiated products will also taken, and also where brands are important. One example, දැන් අපිට මෙහෙම ගන්න පුළුවන් සමහර products වෙනවා brand එක important නැති වෙයි. දැන් මම එක දවසකට ඕගොල්ලන් කිව්වා ඔය ගොඩක් වෙලාවට ඔය පොඩි household items සමහර විට ඔය තේ හදන ගොට්ටක් වෙන්න පුළුවන්, සමහර වෙලාවට හැන්දක් වෙන්න පුළුවන්, සමහරට කෝප්පයක් වෙන්න පුළුවන්. So this kind of product දැන් ඕගොල්ලන් දැකලා ඇති unbranded products in most of the household items. මේ වගේ දේවල් by identifying the country's requirement, these are undifferentiated products. එතකොට අපි ගොඩක් වෙලාවට මේ export merchant කෙනෙක් රටේ consider එහෙම නැත්නම් අදාළ country එකේ requirement එක fill කරන්න මේ product purchase කරනවා. එයාගේනේ කාගේවත් customer කෙනෙක්ගේ requirement එකට නෙමෙයි, නමුත් එයා products ගෙන්නලා තියාගෙන එයා ඒව distribute කරනවා. So that is the main responsibility of export merchant, right? So this merchant completes all the formalities and arrangements and assume all the risk associated with the company. So he is taking every single responsibility of the distribution process. And also, this is very familiar to you. We have export drop shippers. Ogolo drop shippers again, we consider them as desk jobbers or cable merchants. So I'll take this slide for your understanding. The ogolo ඕන තරම් online shopping කරනවා, online shopping කරනකොට you might have seen these drop shippers, right? So what will happen in the drop shipping process is your customers place an order from your online stores. This is happening in the online purchasing, right? So there are customers who place the order from your online stores. Let's assume if we have a online store, the customers will place the order. So your store automatically send the order to your drop shipping suppliers. There are some of the drop shippers who do bulk selling, right? So if you have identified their bulk selling is very low cost, දැන් අපි කරන්නේ අපේ order එක directly place කරනවා drop shipper ට. ඊට පස්සේ drop shipper තමයි, right? So that person drop shipper supplies and prepare your customer orders, and your drop shipping supplier ship the order directly to your customer. ඒක නිකන් අර generally අපිට මොකක් හරි අපි business එකක් තව කෙනෙක් එක deal වෙලා කරනවා වගේ වැඩක්, right? drop shipper කෙනෙක් ඕගොල්ලෝ දැකලා ඇතිනේ ඕන තරම් drop shippers ලා ඉන්නවනේ online purchasing වල. අපිට උනත් පුළුවන් අපි online store එකක් තියෙනවා නම් අපි දන්නවා නම් ගොඩක් වෙලාවට Chinese drop shippers are always there. එහෙම නැත්නම් top rated drop shippers ලා ඕන තරම් ඉන්නවා. අපි කරන්නේ අපිට වැඩිය අපි කරන්නේ අපිට order එකක් ආපුවම ඊට වඩා කියන්නේ low cost එකට product එකක් දෙන drop shipper කෙනෙක්ට අපි order එක අපි place කරනවා. හැබැයි order එක place කරාම drop shipper තමයි අපේ customer ට purchase එක එහෙම නැත්නම් ඒ supply එක කරන්නේ. So here in the second example, which is in the right side, you can see. So here customer place an order from your online store. They pays the retail price of $150. So what you do is you forward the customer order to your drop shipping supplier. You pay the wholesale price of 100. You keep the profit 50. Whereas supplier or the drop shipper, they prepare packages and ship to the product directly to your customer. So customer ta මේගොල්ලෝ ඒ product එක drop shipper විසින් ship කරනවා. මෙන්න මේක තමයි drop shipping වලදී වෙන්නේ. So this is also happening in the indirect exporting process. Right. So then we have trading companies. So you may have seen different trading companies in countries. So buyers and sellers in foreign market have no knowledge of or no knowledge of each other or no knowledge of how to contact each other. So in that case, the best option is trading companies. They are coming to fill that void, right? If there's if you need to distribute some of your product to international context where you do not have any person in the international context, where you do not have the contact with them, so that is the best option using of trading companies. So international marketing activities for many countries of this type of intermediaries may be there, and they are the most dominant form of the volume of business in the influence. So one example I will take, if you take Singer Sri Lanka, Singer is one of the biggest trading company which is selling products in the Sri Lankan context. So they are with high volume. So they are doing very influential business where you can purchase world recognized product in your home country. So if you do not have any other distributors, any other known distributors in the foreign context, you can contact the trading companies of the foreign country and do the distribution through them. Right. So here in the direct export, so we say sell directly to a foreign country or foreign market by the manufacturer, and manufacturer develop an overseas channel where there's no middleman. This is what we have done earlier. So how to do it? So this can be done, as we said, through domestic based export departments or division, and also we can establish overseas branches, subsidiaries. Sometimes we can establish overseas warehousing facilities. So through the warehouse, we can store the goods and sell to foreign customers. The effectiveness of channel may be different in different foreign markets. One example, so sometimes direct marketing is very much popular in America, but it is sometimes not maybe popular in some of the other countries as well. So here, in the direct export, there are different channel levels can be seen. So channel levels is considered as number of intermediaries in the channels. So you may have seen there are different number of intermediaries as we have discussed. There are producers, from producers to consumer, we say this is the 0 level, and producer, retailer, consumer, this is level 1. Producer, wholesaler, retailer, we consider this as level 2, and we have producer, distributor, retailer, consumer, or else we have agent and broker. So this is 0 level, level 1, level 2, and these two we considered as level 3 basically, right? There are different levels in the distribution as well. So in this distribution, rather than the distributors we have specifically discussed, other than that, we have generally we have importers, the one who import the product from directly from the exporter. We have distributors, one who buys the product directly from the exporter and hold large stock and selling to the consumers whenever necessary. Whereas we have wholesalers, they buy from the importers or distributors and direct. So level means the width. That is right. Level means the width. The number of intermediaries. Let me go to that slide. So channel levels means number of intermediaries in the channel. So that of course represent the width, right? When the number of people, number of intermediaries are increasing, that increase the channel levels, right? Hope you are clear with that. So I was talking about wholesalers. They buy from the importers or distributors, whereas you have retailers, they buy directly from the exporter or the department stores or the supermarkets, and they directly selling to the retail buyers. And other than that, we have government departments as foreign intermediaries. So in this government department, as I said, State Trading Corporation, they buy large quantities, and there are essential goods for mass consumption or for use in government departments as well. And also state buying organizations are there. So in the state, so here government departments, the first one is government departments. There are government departments who will take the necessary goods. But in contrast, you have state buying organization. The State Trading Corporation comes under here. The import of goods are done by government organization like state trading corporations. So in Indian context, they import of several commodities like and they basically designate government agencies can import these goods. So sometimes there are some of the goods which can be sell only through these state corporations, not anything else. Right. So basically, we have discussed through the distribution. The important part you need to know is there are different types of different varieties of intermediaries in the indirect and direct channeling. Nothing much. There are indirect distributors, there are direct distributors. The difference between these people need to be identified clearly. And if you are doing international selling, international distribution, you need to identify based on your requirement who will be best fitted to your distribution channel as an intermediary. So that is the most important thing that you need to aware about. So